In January of 2010, there is no provision to buy back 2009 and 2008. Generally speaking, when we do compensation bills, they're prospective as opposed to retroactive because it gets very expensive. And again, we had to work with the money that was available to us in the way the bill was structured. So there's no looking back. However, if you retire after 2 months, you could buy back for that 2 months from 2010, January and February, say. But there's no provision to buy back 2009 and 2008.
So you can only buy back time for which you're actually receiving some locality pay. Any time you didn't receive locality pay, you can't buy the COLA of that time. Once you start receiving locality pay for the amount of time during that 3 years you work, so if you work for 6 months, you can buy back the rest of the COLA for that 6 months. If you work 1 year, you can buy the whole year, but it's only during the actual time that you're receiving locality pay.
That's correct.
Yes.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Thank you for coming. We have about 200 NAP employees here in the space that will be affected by this conversion. Can you address OPM's conversion for us, specifically as it relates to the pay schedules? Because we have some people that if you add all these numbers into, they may go past the maximum rate.
For the special rates?
No, for our NAP pay schedules.
The NAP pay schedules are calculated by DOD, not OPM. So DOD has agreed, and they're bound to follow the provisions of the bill with respect to people that are getting COLA. So but they do the schedules, not OPM. So to the extent that you get COLA, I would anticipate that you would get locality pay, just like everybody else does.
So do you think the maximum pay rate will be adjusted up? Or?
I just can't speak to that, but they are to follow the same provisions of law like everybody else.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
okay, thank you. Yes.
My concern is about health care benefits, and if you all have any insight of how they may impact federal employees.
There won't be any interaction between the COLA provisions and locality pay provisions of this bill and federal employee health benefits. So I don't know what's going to happen with FEHP. The increases have been announced, I understand, but there is no interaction between the two. So anything that would have happened with FEHP will continue to happen regardless of what COLA or locality pay does.
Okay, so there are no changes for the upcoming year 2010. That announcement is firm.
There's no changes in the announcement with regard to what is going to happen with locality pay. Whatever is going to happen in FEHP is a separate issue. Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, we don't have any more questions on locality pay. I also have a surprise for you. We have Brian from Senator Akaka's office who can also talk about NSPS issues. And we also have someone here who can talk to you about the FERS sick leave issue. So do we have any more questions on locality pay? Okay, are there any questions on the sick leave for FERS or NSPS? Okay, great. Okay, would you step to the aisle, please? Thank you.
I had a question on NSPS. What was that, like our shop, that certain people made NSPS and certain people didn't go to NSPS, the one that stayed back as GS? Is there provision for that to change that, or how does that work out? But some people didn't get that at SPS.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question, please? I'm not sure I heard all of it.
When NSPS first came out, it was by, I don't know, I guess it was by groups. Some people went into the NSPS and some people stayed back. I don't know what the reason was.
I think, let me rephrase your question and see if I understand it.
Well,
You have people coming into NSPS, they kind of spiraled in by organization.
right.
And somebody was first and somebody was second and so forth.
Yeah,
And now maybe there are people that never even were converted. And is your question how are they going to return to?
Well, NSPS pay was by merit.
Right.
And regular GS was just pay raises. So there was a lot, difference.
Right. So what will happen in the NDAA for 2010, there was provision that set in place a process to end NSPS. The process for ending it is being worked out right now by DOD. They could decide to end it by flipping the light switch and everybody's out. They could spiral out the way they spiraled people in. They could let the Army do what the Army does and the Navy do what the Navy would do. I don't know precisely how they're going to do it, but there is a timeline. They have to be out by 2012. So it's likely, I suppose, that it will spiral out the way they spiraled in to try to keep the HR workload manageable. But they are working hard on that right now. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. I don't know the process, but as far as pay-wise, when they went to NSPS, they had some good raises come up with the merit promotions. So that was concerned. People that got left behind never did get those.
I see. Okay, I see your question now. Yes, in NSPS there was the opportunity for bigger pay raises. That was one of the intents of NSPS. But those folks that earn those pay raises under NSPS will keep them. They won't lose them. Unfortunately, GS folks, if they never had the opportunity to get into NSPS, got our good old January pay increases every year, maybe a step here and there. I will tell you that the administration is interested in looking at pay reform, and that'll have to be something that we speak to later. But until and if that pay reform happens, then the NSPS folks will, in general, revert to the pay system that they came from. Any other questions? Thank you all very much. It's been a great audience.
Before you go, what I'd like to refer to are the websites that we have up here. What I'd like you to note is that at the FEB website, we also have the slides for this presentation that was also passed to your installation. So please take advantage of going there and looking at the slides. And as you talk to people, because many of them, your friends or your counterparts, are going to ask you some questions, I would first ask them, refer them to the website, because often what you thought you understand may be misconstrued, and then it rolls over into not the right thought process. So have them refer them to the website first, let them review the slides, look at the Q&As, and then if they have more questions, please refer all your questions to Serge at HRO, and he will consolidate them for us and will pass it to the FDD. The FDD is going to consolidate all the questions that come in from the Pacific area, and then we're going to pass them on to Senator Akaka and OPMs. And then both of them will confer and then come up with the response, and we'll put it on the website.